Okay, I just want to leave this for the record. There were some things that happened in the last couple months, and I was pretty much getting to the point where I couldn't take the stress, being with two parents that have failing memory and Alzheimer's and sundowners. Plus, I was dealing with an alcohol problem at the time, and I was living in my car, and I was close to suicide. It was during a tornado warning, and they had me um, direct me to this church, where we were to go there, and we could stay there till the storm passed. And inside the church was this thing called Rescue America, and they were supposed to connect me with someone that could help rehabilitate me. And they used the Christian title that they were Christian. Actually, they were nonprofit, and I agreed. There was another person that called. She was from Kansas, and I turned that one down because it was nothing but a bunch of women and one woman that ran it. And I was very, very, I'm cautious with that because coming out of a hyper charismatic cult such as myself, where a lot of damage has been done, I wasn't about to jump into that again. But I found myself in the same situation later on with this place. I never thought that it would get to that point. But I'm saying this, that Reflections Ministries is not Christian. It is not Christian to control people's food, control their finances, control where they go, control where they don't go, control that they don't aren't allowed to listen to music or feed the birds, control this, control that. It was just pure control. And there were other girls that were there much younger than me, because that is a place where they are supposed to take in women that have been sex trafficked. And somehow they got their wires crossed thinking that I was still sex trafficked, and I wasn't. Now, I was in the adult industry when I was in my 30s. I made that clear. Has it done a lot of damage? Yeah, it has. Um, and then I had an alcohol problem on top of it. But when I went in there, they were heavy-handed with standing over top of you like the Gestapo, telling you to make your bed like military style, um, withholding things from you that that should have never been withheld. They were supposed to give you allotment of food, and then when you'd buy something they didn't want you to have, they'd take it away from you. You had to make your bed as tight as a bed on a barracks at a military place. I don't know who this woman is. Her name's Lisa. I don't know. You'll have to look into it. But Reflection Ministries is tied in with Cornerstone, which is tied in with what they say are 501. And it's been a nightmare. I stayed there about 4 weeks. And then I come to find out they wanted me to stay there for 4 years, change my name, change my location. But yet I never seen a damn dime of that money that they said they were going to help me out with, transitioning me. And it never happened. So I ended up telling them I don't want to do this anymore. And just because I called my sister and told her I wanted to come back, they picked me up in the car that they had, and they dumped me off at Salvation Army in front of people that I didn't even know. And I was pretty much homeless until I finally got a bus ticket and a plane ticket back. This is Midland, Texas, by the way. It needs investigated. That's all I got to say. And there was a lot of racial profiling there. There was a lot of harassment. There was extreme control and, forcing people to take medications that just pretty much knocked them out to where they just slept on the chairs. They were doing some kind of rehab to where they had people going into a building and they were supposed to be doing some kind of what they thought was school, education. Half the time people didn't show up when you need to get taught a class. They weren't there. They didn't like it when you had an opinion, but they were allowed to have the opinion because their opinion matters. You wasn't allowed to watch Fox TV. You wasn't allowed to listen to anything conservative or Republican. Nothing like that. And I was mistreated there. At first, it started out really well, and I thought this might help. This might really help me get on my feet, and I might be able to get a job and maybe go back to school. I thought about taking beautician training. And then I come to find out that it was all a big scam. And when they dumped me off at Salvation Army, I was terrified. I had no support. The only person I could call was my sister, and the 3 words that she said was food, water, shelter. And I was taken back by that. So I stayed in a dorm with 8 to 12 women, and there were 35 men on the other side. I did not know who these men were. I kept to myself. And by the grace of God, I got through it. But when it was time to go, I didn't tell anybody I left. I packed up what I needed to pack up, and I got on that bus, and then I got on that plane, and I never looked back. I can't tell you how filthy Midland is, the trash, the garbage, the just couches, chairs, mattresses thrown on the side of the road, garbage, and how I was treated. And there was a lot of race baiting there as well. So I just wanted to make this for the record, that reflection is not a ministry. It's a 501c scam, and those girls are not getting the help they need to get, because if they did, they wouldn't be falling asleep in the chairs. They wouldn't be fighting or upset or crying all the time. They'd be allowed to have cookouts. They'd be allowed to go to places like skating rinks. They didn't let those girls nothing. They locked them in, and then when they decided they were going to go to their classes, then they made sure that's where they went. And it was constant like that, back and forth for over the time that I was there. Now there was girls there that's been there for years, and I managed to just endure it for 4 weeks until I caught on to what they were doing, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I never looked back. There were 2 particular girls that were there that were super sweet, but they tried to encourage me to stay there, and I said, I ain't staying here. I'm not doing it. They controlled coffee, they controlled tea, they controlled sugar, they controlled everything. And they treated you like you were below them. And they need to look into it, because there's other people that's left too. There's people that just were supposed to get help, and they ended up packing their shit and going AWOL. So it needs to be looked into. Personally, it needs to be looked into. And these people that run this reflection ministries, whoever the hell they are, did not show compassion. Not for an almost 60-year-old woman.